Okay, cool. Um, Sounds good. Well, I'm excited for this call. We got Spencer Faggioni on here. So Spencer's going to be going. We're on the phone, but a little bit before this, and he's going to be going over a couple things. One thing I wanted to touch on is Spencer's been doing insurance for 10 years. So he's been doing insurance a long time, and not only has he been doing it a long time and has longevity in the industry, he's written at a very high level consistently. So Spencer's biggest year is 800K. He's written a boatload of annuities. You've had 4 years of he's humble, so he didn't want to tell you guys this, but he said I could. He's had 4 years where he's earned over $1 million a year on his personal income. So he's going to talk about that. He's going to talk about annuities, talk about health insurance, and also how much insurance you guys need to write in order to be able to afford a helicopter. So thanks for hopping on, bro.
Yeah, dude, thanks for having me. This is probably, I think, my second time coming back, and I love working with you guys. I mean, there's something to be said. You guys are doing something right. Biggest agency, biggest volume, biggest killers. I met a lot of you guys at Summit, a lot of hungry young dudes, and I love that. I love the culture, best vibe all the way. But let's dive into it because we're short on time. We got a little late start due to Zoom crashing out. But yeah, I mean, let's just kind of try to start in a chronological order. Yes, I have been doing this for 10 years. This will be my 10th year. Now, it's not like I started in home and auto policies and selling your car insurance and, pet insurance. It was pretty much life insurance the entire time. Started at a captive company, worked there for like 4 months. I was like, well, that's not it. Started finding a company where I could buy leads, just swiping my credit card for opportunities to sell people insurance. That was 100% the move. Got my feet wet at that company for like 4, 5, 6 months. And then I found another company and I was like, all right, that's where I'm going to hang my hat for a little bit. What's interesting about me when I came to this industry, I came from bartending and working at nightclubs. And I worked at a dealership, a motorcycle dealership. Nothing that really was like a stepping stone for this other than just knowing how to talk to people. And so what I realized, I knew I had potential. I knew I could be great, but I knew I had a lot to learn. And when I was brand new, I wanted the notoriety. I wanted the accolades. I wanted the recognition. But the only way I could do that was I had to shorten my learning curve by just getting into the trenches. And what I did was I told myself back in 2016, I said, you know what, Spencer, if you stick to this, I told myself the new idea department is closed. They're not taking emails, phone calls, applications, notes, suggestions, nothing. The new idea department doesn't exist. Anything I thought I knew, any clever idea I thought I had, however cheeky I thought I could get after it, absolutely not. If you haven't learned by now, this is a copycat industry. So all I did was I got my hands on the number one producer's process, his script, how he did it. I said, let's start there. If I can learn how he does it and I can cut my teeth and I can get the hang of it, let's do it. So I put my head down. I didn't speak up on calls. I didn't tell people how great I am. I just shut up. And that was hard for a young, relatively motivated, like I felt like I was in my bag, 26 years old. I was somewhat cocky and pretty confident, as most of us at that age are. And so it was a humbling experience to just say, hey, just don't speak unless spoken to, and just put your head down and work. And so I moved out of the place where I grew up. So Joe and I had no birthdays, no parties, no going out for drinks after work. I had no distractions, nothing to do. I knew nobody. So all I did was work, right?
Yep. Same.
I took a little I would go to the gym, stuff like that. I'm not like a psychopath, but I just worked, man. And what I realized after about 4 months, I was at the top of the leaderboards. Nobody knew how to pronounce my last name because I wasn't talking. Like I was kind of in the shadows, just working. And eventually that's what kind of got me on the map, where people started to go, damn, this guy crushes, right? I was putting up 50, 60K life months, doing in-person sales, driving around all over Kingdom Come, leaving at 6 a.m, getting home at 11 o'clock at night, getting no-showed, porched, no sales, not interested, selling a few, like the whole nine. And I just worked, man. I did 21-day sprints where I would work for 21 days straight. And what I focused on as a new agent, and my advice to you guys, was I held true to this concept of something called IPAs, income producing activities. Between the hours of 8 a.m. and 8 p.m., the amount of hours that I was able to, the doors were open for business when I could sell a client insurance I only focused on an income producing activities. And in my opinion, there are only two direct income producing activities in the business, and that's dialing the phone or running an appointment. Those are the only two things that have an immediate impact on you making money, especially now in virtual sales, right, Vincent? If I call the phone, you pick up, I'm probably going to try to pitch you and close you right now. I'm not setting an appointment. So if dialing the phone gets me an appointment, those are the only two things I was doing. Anytime I wanted to learn or sharpen my skill set, I did that between 8, 9, 10 p.m. until whenever I was exhausted. I would literally go home. And this is, Jonah, how I got better than other people, because I said, all these people have been doing this for like 10 years. And I'm over here trying to make a name for myself, but they're so much more knowledgeable and better than me. They know all the prescriptions and the underwriting and the carriers and all that stuff. So I would spend 9 p.m. to 10:30 learning. I would download the carrier brochures and go, well, if Transamerica thinks that the agent should know this and I'm an agent, maybe I should print it off and see what pages apply to what I do. The prescription underwriting check, the medical background stuff, the weight chart, all that stuff. I just read it. So that's how I got good quick, right? Income producing activities. And that correlates directly into time management. I mean, that is my time management technique. If I managed my time and made sure I was only doing activities that generated income, how could I fail? Because this is a numbers game. I very quickly, within the first like 90, 180 days, I was like, all right, this isn't really a skills-based business. It's about who works the most, gets rewarded the most. Because you sell 10, 15, 20 of these and you get the hang of it, right? I mean, it's not rocket science. I mean, we're glorified order takers.
Spencer, let me interrupt you for a second, because I love what you said, but there's certain people, obviously not going to name names, but there's certain people where they're in the office for 10, 12 hours, but they're not getting in 10, 12 hours of actual work. So there's a difference between working and actual working. And a lot of people, they would get more done if they worked in focused, dedicated 6, 7, 8 hours than the 12 hours they're here. So what are some tangible KPIs that everyone can apply to their business on a day-to-day basis in order to allow them to write $800,000 of life insurance in a year?
First thing you should do on a sticky note on your monitor, write this phrase: am I dialing all day, or am I taking all day to dial? Another thing, this is all mental stuff, guys. Another thing I would ask myself, I would struggle with, you make 30 phone calls, Jonah, then you flip over to Instagram, right? Normal. We all do it.
Yep.
I'm not calling anybody out. I do it. But you know what I had to start doing, Jonah? I had to start saying these words out loud. You remember Matt Walker?
Yes.
We shared a wall. We shared a wall at the office we rented here in Brandon, Florida. True story.
Okay.
I started telling, I'm getting goosebumps saying it because it's so funny. I started telling myself out loud, I would say, get off Instagram, Spencer. I'd say just like that, get off Instagram, Spencer. And I said to myself, if I don't even respect my own words to me, if I don't listen to me, how dare I expect a client to listen to me? If I don't listen to me, I'm going to demand a perfect stranger to do what I tell them to do. How ignorant, how far must my head be up my own butt to think that that's the world I live in? Like, that's a level of ignorance that I was uncomfortable with. So I would out loud say, hey, get off Instagram, Spencer. In a matter of like 5 or 6 days, I would, by habit, I'd open Instagram, and before it could load that first feed, I would flick it closed again, because I didn't even have to tell myself anymore. I created a habit. In a matter of like 5 days, I was like, oh, I'm out of this. Now, what was funny, on day 2 or 3, Matt Walker comes and knocks on my door. He goes, hey, brother, I could be hearing voices. I'm not sure. But are you saying get off Instagram, Spencer, out loud? I was like, brother, I am. And I swear to you, you should try it, because it feels so good to tell yourself something and keep accountability to yourself. That's what men do. That's what women do. That's what business owners do. We're not boys. We're not girls. We're not employees. Every 10 seconds I spent on Instagram, I was stealing from my business. I would fire me. Like, dude, go to Pizza Hut. How many of those employees are allowed to be on Instagram just scrolling around? No, they make pizzas, they take orders, they clean up the shop, they keep the business running, they get paid to do so. How is it that I, as the number one employee for my business, why do I get that leniency? So long-winded answer, Jonah. But yeah, Matt Walker goes, 2 days later, I heard him saying it through the wall. He goes, get off Instagram, Matt. And I was like, this is so funny, but it worked. The
Man,
yeah.
that's so important. I gotta chime in on that because what I noticed is not only like while you're working, but when I first wake up, if I go on social media right away within the first 10, 15 minutes of me waking up, I'm not as cognitively sharp for the entire day. Like it does something to your mental if you go on Instagram right away when you wake up. And then during the day, a lot of our agents already know this, but you have more self discipline than I do. Because for me, it was like if it was on my phone, I would subconsciously, because we're just all so addicted to it and we don't even know. I would subconsciously go onto it. So what I would do is, and it's the same thing to this day, past 5 years, like the little icon right there where Instagram is, it's not there. I delete Instagram off my phone every single day so I can't go on it. And actually when I was a brand new agent and before I was responsible in hiring and had other agents that I was mentoring when it was just me producing, dude, I would put my phone in another room so I wouldn't have to worry about it, put it in do not disturb, and then I would dial off my laptop so I had zero distractions that I could really just lock in.
So check this out. Excuse me while I raise my manual desk. Times are tough here. It's 2025. I'm kidding. I'm just gonna stand because I've 2 hours sleep. I'm switching between Red Bull and black coffee. And I've eaten 11 ounces of ground beef today. All right. So I agree with you. Deleting the distraction is really powerful. However, my mindset was I refuse to let something so insignificant have that much control over me. The control freak in me started to freak out. I was like, wait a minute, this owns me. It controls me so much that I can't help it. I was like, I need to build up some sort of level of discipline. Like I'm a dad now. Like I got kids, bro. Like it's a little bit more serious. But the point is, I was like, how dare Instagram or Facebook think that it owns me so much that I can't control my own actions to not be on it? And that's where I came up with the get off Instagram, Spencer. And it worked, man. It worked. So yeah, deleting it, great idea. Eliminate the distraction, focus on IPAs. If you're not dialing the phone or running an appointment, you're not making money. If you were your own employee, would you fire yourself after your day's effort, or would you continue to pay your salary and let you keep coming into work? It's a simple question. So stop taking all day to dial and just dial all day. Like you want the money, just get it done. That's what allowed me to begin to have more freedom and buy back my time because I was working so much. And let's transition gracefully, Jonah, into the type of business that I built for myself on my own pen. Yeah, it's important to note this, Jonah. I didn't make over $1 million because I had a big team. I was actually not very good at recruiting, but I was damn
Spencer,
good.
well, what do you say to the people that are like, oh, the only way to make money in life insurance is if you hire and recruit, and make money off other people?
How PC do you want me to be?
We want the full spicy Spence.
If you think the only way to make money in insurance is by having a team, you've been lied to and you've sold yourself a load of bullshit. Like you've convinced yourself that's the way. I have 1099s from countless carriers to prove it. It's actually in my office right here. Like on my own pen. Like I had a few agents, but if you go look at the 1099s from the carriers on my own production, I mean, I had an agency that did like 200 grand the whole year, Jonah. Like, I mean, 2017, #1 rookie of the year, #1 every category. 2018, outsold my own self, #1 again, except for in one category. 2019, same damn thing. I began to focus and specialize in annuities, less life, way more annuity volume, made more money, kept more money than any other year. 2018 and 2019, both years that my net income after lead costs was over $1 million on my own pen. Not because I'm better, not because I'm some God's gift, none of that. I literally stuck to a system. I focused on IPAs. If I wanted to get better at something, I did it outside of income producing activity hours. Occasionally you got to call a carrier. I get it, but I'm not going to go learn an annuity. I'm not going to go watch a YouTube video on annuities at 2 in the afternoon. I got to make money. That's a great task. If you drink wine or have beer, enjoy a beer. what I did, you guys heard me say this before, I would put on Lord of the Rings or Harry Potter. Those are the only two movies that I would put on while I learned. Something monotonous to watch, but you've seen the movies 1,000 times. You know the plots. The movies are 9 hours long. They're not super distracting. You might look up and watch a scene for a few minutes, then you're back to it. But I would put on white noise that allowed me to learn. But I did that between 10, 11, 12 at night. Skylar, when other producers were patting themselves on the back for having an 8K day, I had to get better because they had years of experience on me. So I just went and learned. And it's terrible. I was a terrible student. Like, I'm not a role model. This is not even who I grew up to be, but I had to be this person because I wanted to make a lot of money. Now, transitioning into annuities, what I realized was when I'm selling life insurance to people on aged mortgage protection mailers, what I realized is every single person that has a mortgage had to have enough income to prove to a bank to loan them money. So that right there qualified them for being better, like more money. It didn't matter if it was 7 months, 7 years, 7 weeks, 7 days old. I didn't care. A bank told them, yeah, we'll give you 300-400 grand. You obviously have enough money to cover that and your expenses. So to me, it was like, all right, that's what I'm going after. Aged and new mortgage protection, done deal. That's all I wanted. But then I was finding that blue collar America is the most underserved population for wealth management. And so I started uncovering all these people that had no love, no support, no financial advisor, no wisdom, no coach, no mentor, nobody to tell them, here's what most people are doing and here's why. And I just asked the right questions and I started uncovering opportunities to tee up annuities. Vincent, I wrote a rule for myself. I said, Spencer, you can't present an annuity option until you find 10 monies. So I got good at finding the money. I had to hear how the questions rolled off my tongue because there was no coach. There was nobody there to hold my hand and watch me do it. I had to figure it out. So I just said, all right, let's find 10 monies. Sure enough, 2 weeks ago, I was like, well, shit, I found 10 monies. Like, now let's try asking a question to see if I can get them interested in something. Tried that. I would do these things called AARs, after action reports. After every single meeting, I would do a sticky note of 3 things I wish I did better because I had to coach myself. And I would just get better at asking better questions. That's all it was. So eventually, now I'm finding people that have 9-year-old 401ks they haven't touched, haven't logged into, get the statements, don't know what they mean, don't know what to do with it. They're 48 years old, have no clue. $300,000 in it. Well, if I could help you protect that money, would you be interested in learning more about it? Sure thing. How much does it cost? It actually doesn't cost you anything. How cool is that? Cool. What's the catch? Well, the catch is this is an agreement between you and the insurance. Okay, whatever. However you sell it, you sell it. I'm not doing a sales training on annuities today. But what I realized, Jonah, and what I realized, everybody, you have to get this. The very first annuity commission I got was $12,000, give or take. And what I did, Jonah, was I did the math. I said, how many life insurance plans do I have to sell at 105% commission to make $12,000? I said, well, at least 12. If the average policy about $85, I was like, okay, so at least 12. But then I was like, well, wait a minute. What about the people that cancel? Okay, so now I've got to sell maybe 16, maybe 17. I was like, oh shit. How many appointments do I have to set in order to get 16 or 17 sales so that the cancellation, so I keep 12 grand. I was like, all right, so now we're at like 25 appointments. I was like, okay, how long does it take me to dial to get 25 appointments? All right, well, that's several days. I mean, at least a couple. And then it dawned on me. In one meeting, from one lead, from one client, I made 12 grand. It would take me 7 to 10 business days to be able to do that same thing selling life insurance. Epiphany. That's when I realized I like lumpy money. I like big paychecks. I want to make bank, bro. I want to drive a Range Rover, right? And that's when I was like, okay. Then my whole mindset my mindset shifted. And I realized I was no longer a life insurance agent. I was a financial services professional. And I could offer more than just solving the problem for what's going to happen to your home when you die. So what I realized, Jonah, I tried annuity leads. I tried annuity seminars. All of them worked to some degree. It takes a lot of money to do. But I realized the best way to find annuities was selling mortgage protection because guess what happened? I got paid every week to find lumpy money. I was like, dude, this is the best gig ever. I stopped to like pat myself on the back. Big life insurance day. Don't get me wrong. Feels good. Keeps the business afloat. But I was really counting. I was like, oh, sick. I got 3 statements emailed to me today. $685,000 if I close half, home freaking run. Now, back in the day when I learned this, Jonah, I was on my own. There was no Ask a Specialist. There was no weekly training. There was no mentor. There was no training. There was no additional resources to teach me how to sell it. There wasn't even anybody I could bring in to close it for me and split the commission. I'd have given away almost all the commission to learn how to do it. I had to do trial and error. Now, times are different. We have word tracks and scripts that you guys can use that don't affect the process of selling mortgage protection, so you can make your bag and you can tee up a specialist and you can just go back to selling life insurance and wait for your check to come. I see almost none of you guys on the weekly Wednesday noon annuity training call. Our entire hour-long training today was only on one thing: how to tee up the specialist to close your annuity and still get your mortgage protection sale. I encourage you guys to be a part of that, because I'm not going to teach you how to go sell annuities and change your whole business model. I'm going to teach you, Skylar Cotman, how to set an appointment for somebody that specializes in closing. And then
Spencer, let me stop you there, because I saw a few of you guys write it down. But if you guys don't already, please lock that in your calendar. So it's 12 p.m. Eastern, 11 p.m. Central Time, every Wednesday. The advanced market annuity call. It's pinnacletraining.com.
Yeah, the pinnaclelivetraining.com.
Pinnacle Live Training link that all the trainings are on. So lock that in your calendar. Yeah. And to your point, Spencer, if I could chime in, I've made a lot of mistakes over the course of the period of time I've been in insurance, but the biggest one I've made on the personal production side is dropping the ball on annuities. Mm-hmm. And I mean, not to blame other people, but the prior company we came from, like, I wanted to, but it's just, dude, not only was there no support or help, dude, there was not even any training on it. So it was like, just no one really talked about it. So I say that to encourage you guys, is like, we're really blessed here at Pinnacles. Not only do we have a lot of weekly trainings on it, but we literally have people that will close it down for you. And on that same vein, I was talking to one of our guys last night about personal production, recruiting. And for a long time in this business, when I first started, and Isaac and Kobe, they knew me back in the day when, dude, I didn't have a team and I was just personally producing. And there was a while where I had no plans of actively building a team. And my plan was to make deep 6 figures a year, just off my own personal pen. So I was laughing anytime somebody says, oh, there's no money, there's only money in recruiting. Like, yeah, I was making great money the entire time. But what's funny about that, in the conversation I was having with one of our guys last night on the phone, was he was talking to me about, dude, like, I just want to grow, and like, I want to be doing this amount a month, and I just want to be bigger, and like, I'm frustrated that our team's not growing, and this and that. It's like common frustrations when you're growing an agency and growing pains. And then he was also talking about, like, what if this happens, or like worst case scenario, and what if everybody quits, da. And for me, when I was building it, and even to this day, it's like, dude, it's always been such a huge stress release for me, knowing that I could always go back to my personal production. Because when I say that, whenever I'm thinking through any scenario, I like to think of the worst possible outcome that could occur on whatever I'm thinking about. And I apply this to almost everything. So I was like, okay, well, when it comes to the agency, it's like, what's the worst possible outcome that could possibly occur? All right, well, everybody quits, and we're doing $0 as an agency, and we're doing no production. And then it's like, if that happened, worst case scenario, dude, I would just grab a stack of leads. I'd simply get back on the phones, and I would start dialing again. And so there's a lot of guys where they're like, they only want to recruit, and they're really good recruiters. Dude, in my opinion, that's a lot more. If you've never personally produced, you don't know how to personally produce, dude, that's a lot more stressful when you're building your agency, building your team. Because the entire time I was building it, like, anytime I'd hop on a hiring call, it was like, hey, dude, like, this is what I'm doing. This is how much I'm producing a month. I'm making great money. This is what it looks like. This is the opportunity. Are you down? And if no, cool. I would get, like, no big deal. I'm just going to go back to work. And so when you can build like that and have that, have that resort in your mind of like, dude, worst case scenario, everybody quits, I can just go back to my personal. Like, for me, when I was building, that was huge. And that was a huge stress release. And just knowing that you have that in your arsenal, in your tool belt.
Jonah, I have what I feel is the perfect recruiting and building blueprint. And this is an opinion. This is not fact, but this is my opinion. And take it from, this is just my almost 10 years of doing this. Okay. If I had to start all over, here's exactly what 2025 Spencer would tell 2015 Spencer. Be on the top of the leaderboards as often and as regularly as possible. And when you start finding these annuities and you get those checks for 20, 30 grand, 40 grand, 50 grand, Spencer, instead of chartering a private airplane to take your girlfriend to the San Juan Islands for $2,500 and pay the pilot to sit there and wait so you can enjoy dinner, instead of doing all that bullshit, which matters zero, take that money, know that your bills are paid, know that the stress is gone, and recruit and grow for the rest of that week. And then Monday, the next week, you get into the fucking field with your guys and you sell again and find more annuity opportunities. Because what annuities did is it bought my time back. When you get a check, Ed, for $28,000 deposited, no 75% advance, a 99.9% likelihood it won't charge back, what do? Do you keep spending $300 a week on leads?
Yeah. You reinvest that back in your business.
All the same lead 27 times. You go, Sanjay, please pick up. I need to sell you. No, dude. You go buy $2,000 worth of leads for the next 6 weeks. Now, when people blow you off or don't want the insurance, you know what I used to do? I say, no problem. I got 1,000 names and phone numbers a week that people actually want this. And so I became less desperate. I was able to be more successful. I was able to be the idol that my agents I was recruiting wanted me to be. And I used annuity premiums, annuity money to level up as an agent. Then I started having $40,000, $50,000, $60,000 months because I had lumpy money coming in. I had $30,000, $20,000. Sometimes I only did $10,000 of life, but those months I did $10,000 of life, I had 40 G's deposited from annuities. So I bought my time back. I poured it back into my team, back into my agents, and I led by example. I was like, guys, this is how we do it. Uncover the money and grow your business. So that when we talk about longevity in this business, I don't think anybody here wants to, hey, Andrew, is this your 2-year plan? Are you planning to do this for 2 years until the next best job comes up? Probably not. Rhetorical question. You don't have to unmute, but you get the point, right? Nobody's here to be like, oh, this is what's good for now, but pretty soon something really good is going to open up. Every single one of you will be a 16, 18, 24-month agent if you just keep thinking $500 a week of leads is going to get you where you want to be. Okay. Now it's scary to go dip into your coffers and spend money on leads, but the best way to neutralize that fear is ask the question, tee up a specialist. I'll read. Hey, you ready? Here's some word tracks. Here's some actual takeaways instead of all this mindset lecturing. You ready? Here's a real way. Hey, Jonah, put this, copy and paste this into the chat or whatever group text thing you got. I just texted you the word track. Okay, this is exactly what I'm gonna read it to you guys. You ready? After I sell the appointment, Jonah, after I sell them, I do not tell them they're approved right away. I say, Jonah, I got great news, man. These carriers are super awesome. It's 2025, state of the art. They're going to get back to me within 24 or 40 hours. I'm going to be able to call you and let you know you're approved. Tell you what, Jonah, write my name down. Again, my name is Spencer. This is my phone number, okay? I'm going to call you from this phone number as soon as I find out. Save me in your contacts so you know it's me. You got it? So now the client's eager to hear from you, Ed. They're waiting for you to call them back, Skylar. They have you in their phone. They're excited to hear from you. So now you're building more credibility and excitement around the product and service you just provided. Then I say this. I call them up. I go, Ed, Skylar, great news. I heard back from Kansas City Life. They approved you for the life insurance, exactly what I quoted you, exactly the death benefit. You're going to get those policy documents in the next 7 to 10 business days, and you're going to see that first bank draft in the next 2 or 3 business days. But I'm so excited. Ed, I got one question for you. How do you feel? You feel good, man? You feel like a little weight off your shoulders?
You have a lot of weight. Let's drop my shoulders.
Yeah. Jonah, how much better are you going to sleep tonight knowing, I just deleted that, knowing that no matter what happens tonight, tomorrow, the next day, next week, next month, next year, 10 years, your wife's good to go? How much better do you feel now?
I'm going to sleep like a baby.
Awesome. Now that we have your mortgage protection covered, I wanted to mention one more thing, Jonah. You had previously mentioned a 401k, correct?
Yep.
Okay. So I feel like it would be weird if I didn't tell you, but at our firm, we do have a retirement specialist that meets with our existing clients to make sure that your retirement is protected the exact same way we just protected your mortgage. It's a free 10-minute consultation already included in your mortgage protection. Would you find that beneficial if I made that introduction?
Yeah, I could take some value from that.
All right,
I'd be
perfect.
interested.
Perfect. Jesse Hantla, who's our expert, is available to meet with you. Would this time on Friday be better for you, or would 5:30 work best? Which would you
We
prefer?
could do, we can do this time next Friday.
That's it. I didn't have to tell them about the earnings index. I didn't have to tell them about an annuity, how it works, how the money goes up, or you're protected from the loss. I didn't have to talk about options trading or calls and puts or money value adjustments. I didn't have to talk about anything about annuity. I said nothing about, I didn't even say annuity. I just said, hey, we have people here that specialize in this. I'd feel weird if I didn't mention it. If I knew of a way to help you, I didn't mention it. That'd be weird. But would it be valuable to you? Would you find it beneficial if I made that introduction? 10 out of 10 times they say yes, Jonah. Then you get the 1 in 1,000 that's like, oh, I'm good. Okay, cool. No sweat. I'm super happy we got you. Hey, if you ever have questions, just shoot me a text. We got those numbers on the phone. Done.
Yeah, we get told no all day on the phones every single day, hundreds of times a day. But we're afraid to have a client tell us no, that they're not interested in an annuity at the end. It's like, okay, like if you're not, it's no pressure, no big deal. It's all good. Glad we were able to help you out with the mortgage protection.
Exactly. Hey, Jonah, do your guys want to hear about what happens when somebody's not interested in the insurance, or their value doesn't exceed the price, or they're ineligible due to health? What do we sell them? Do you want some gas one-liner Spencer fucking heaters on that? You want it?
Oh, hell yeah, we did.
All right, I'm gonna copy and paste and send it to you again, distribute it amongst your agents, okay?
All right.
Text message coming inbound now. All right, check this out. Jonah, let's say we are unable for a client that's a certain age, certain income. Occasionally you meet people that make like 110 grand a year and they're 68 years old and they're doing okay financially. They have savings, they have things, like they're not completely up shit's creek if somebody died. Like, so for them to spend $250 a month to have $100,000 of coverage, they might not be able to wrap their mind around it and justify it. And you can't sell everybody, right? I see a few people nodding like, yeah, I've had that client before, right? Or what about a client that's medically ineligible? They just do not qualify for good healthcare. You're guaranteed issue all the way. And you're sitting here going, man, I got to make 15 grand stretch out for this person's $3,800 mortgage. Or maybe it's a $2,100 mortgage. They're just not healthy or eligible for a lot of good coverage, right? We've all had those. Here is how you sell them something. Are you ready? Hey, Jonah, has anybody talked to you about being self-insured?
No.
Okay. Well, earlier you mentioned you had a 401k, and we actually have a lady at our firm that knows of a way where you can use your retirement assets to create a death benefit for free. At the very least, it'll be a 10-minute phone call. She'll provide you some information. Again, it's free of cost. But would that help you if I connected you with her?
Yeah, I'd be interested.
All right, cool. Book it on the calendar.
That easy.
Dude, it's literally like a sentence. I didn't talk about index allocations. I didn't talk about 10-year. I didn't talk about bonus. I didn't talk about anything, Jonah. It literally is teed up for a specialist. Walk away, call the next lead, put it on their calendar, wait for the check. They close. Janelle Watson's show rate is like 79%. Karen Bain's show rate is like 80%. Their close rates are over 60%. All you got to do is find. Yeah, dude, it's huge numbers. It's ridiculous. So I'll pause. I'll let you interject questions stuff. There's probably about 1 or 2 other topics we should touch on. I know we're a little late. I'll go till 6 p.m. on this, but I know we want to get back to work. Income producing activities, right? I saw Nick Milo in the chat goes, I'll watch the recording after IPAs. I was like, that's the attitude we need. Yes. That really is, dude. Jonah, we should be recording these at 2 or 3 in the morning and then rolling them out 6 a.m. Everybody watches it. Movie group. I'll do it. But anyways, go ahead. Sorry, continue.
That's a great idea. Let's talk about that. But I'm just soaking all this in. Spencer, talk to us. So it's about $80,000 a month production life wise, or $40,000 a month incorporating annuities. What is more profitable and what is more sustainable?
I think it's obvious, but annuities is more profitable. It's more fun. It's more sustainable. It's the only reason I've lasted this long in insurance, because the life insurance grind, it's a grind. I've been there with you guys. I've spent 100 hours a week. I've done it for a long time. And so the only reason I've lasted so long was because I realized that every week I'm dialing and selling life insurance, I'm getting paid to find lumpy money. Because obviously we all make sales. You fall into sales. You can be terrible at this job and you still make money. But to make a shit ton of money, here's what I've told people, Joan. I said, I got good news for you. You can make $500,000-$600,000 a year selling just life insurance. You absolutely can do it. I've seen it done. You and I could rattle off the names of people that we know personally and shook hands, looked them in the eyes and did it. And one of them is here at this company, Willis Hicks. He's done it selling life insurance alone. But I'll tell you what, he killed himself every day, every week, all the time to get it done. So you can do it. Great news. You can do it. The bad news is you're going to sacrifice a lot of your life. And okay, how sustainable is that? A year, maybe 2? Hell yeah. Or you can sell life insurance every week with the sole purpose of finding out how many people's retirements you can protect from losses. And that type of money pays you fat commissions, dude. Fat, like PHAT fat. Like that kind of fat. People are nodding because like, yo, I want that fat money. Because that's what it did, dude. I was able to buy a house, retire my wife, pay off all my debt, pay off my car. I make extra mortgage payments to my house. I was able to learn to become a helicopter pilot, lease a helicopter without any other partners on it, lease it for a whole year myself. Insurance for it, 28 grand a year, stroke the check. Private pilot, private helicopter, fly when I need, fly to clients, fly my wife to breakfast, brunch, lunch, dinner, you name it. I've done it. I've taken my daughter up. My daughter is now I'm terrible for doing this. She's coloring in the back of the helicopter like there's nothing better to do. I'm like, what is this life that I've created? I need to burn her toys or something. That's probably terrible. It's a joke. It's a joke. I wouldn't do that. But the point is, I've been able to create a life for my family I never thought I deserved, earned. But the only way I did it was because I was like, okay, sell life insurance, find the lumpy money, set it up, sell it, learn to sell it. Those of you that just don't want to learn to sell it or aren't at that place yet, tee it up to the specialist, wait for the checks. Dylan Assad found $447,000 in somebody's checking account, and the annuity funded in 1 week. The client was already so scared about the market that they cashed out their 401k, paid the taxes on it, put it in their checking account, and all he did was ask the questions. They go, yeah, we want that. They called him back and said, that's us. An annuity is us. We want that. It's just nuts. $22,000 this guy made. It's more, and he did solar, sold kilowatts, pushed big deals, did pretty well. Biggest commission he's ever made in his entire life was from selling his first annuity. I'm like, dude, that's insane. So longevity, you have to sell annuities if you want to be in this for the long haul. If you want to buy
Spencer, can I interrupt you though? So I want to clarify something you said, because you said sell the life insurance, find the annuities. Because I've talked to some agents, they're like, dude, Spencer told me to F life insurance. I'm only selling annuity. It's like, no, like you still got to sell the life insurance. The the example I love to use is David Pyle. Like you talk to David Pyle. The great guy to talk to. Love that guy. Yeah. It's like, it's so funny the way he says it. He's like, yeah, dude, I accidentally wrote $550,000 last year, but accidentally. I was just trying to find the annuities. It's like, yeah. But because you have to sell them that, because the agents that are just like buying the leads, just trying to find the annuities. First of all, it's like freaks out the clients. It's the whole bait and switch deal, which you don't want to do to clients. It's just weird.
Yeah.
And then secondly, it's the life insurance is still the cash flowing machine. It's like, this is like we're talking about a solar deal. You can't wait 2-3 months to get paid on an annuity. Like you got to be getting paid tomorrow, next week, the following, etc.
Yes. And if anybody ever takes what I'm saying, as Spencer said, F off to life insurance, only sell annuities, then maybe I've done a poor job of delivering my message. And I know I get excited and animated and I talk fast and I'm extra sometimes. Like I get it, but I'm passionate about this, but you've missed something very clear. I got paid every week from life insurance companies to find annuity opportunities. Do you understand what I'm saying? I bought leads $1,500 a week in life insurance leads, $2,000 a week in life insurance leads, $2,500 a week in life insurance leads, because I realized the more life insurance I sold, the more annuities I found. And that changed my business. It leveled me up, Jonah, as an agent, because then I had more capital to invest into my team, my leads, my business, my marketing. And then eventually, Jonah, I was able to breathe. I was able to look at my bank account and say, like, holy shit, I have $430,000 in my bank account that I don't owe anybody, no taxes, no credit, no debt, no loans, no anything. And I can actually take a week off because I earned it. And it's okay to do that. We talk so much about 100 days, 100 hours. Like, I get it. Like, let's get pumped, but it's okay to earn something that allows you to be centered with yourself. But you cannot do that on $300 a week on leads, $500 a week, $800 a week on leads. Like, you've just set a false expectation for yourself. That's what I'm here for. That's what Jonah's here for. We're here to help you say, hey, if you want your business model to change, here's what we need to do. We need to sell as much as we can, find the lumpy money, because everybody here would be like, yeah, 10 grand in my business right now, I would 100% spend $1,000 more a week on leads for the next 4 weeks. I'd take the rest of the money, make sure my mortgage and bills are paid. That would help me out. A little bit for savings, a little bit for the business. That's fine. But now I have more opportunities, more life I'm selling, more annuities I'm finding. That's the roadmap. The first annuities I found, Jonah, I never went backwards on lead spend because I just kept finding, I fell into more annuity opportunities. It's insane. And so longevity, mindset, time management, IPAs, like all that stuff falls into this, dude. The lead spend, you do this, you tee up a specialist, you're going to have more money, you can invest more in leads, you're less desperate on the phone, less commission breath. Everything changes when you just introduce those scripts, which you've already copy and pasted, given your people. Those scripts, all you do is find the money in the point. Does everybody know how to find the money? What do you have that acts like life insurance? Something that would be passed on to your wife or kids. God forbid you didn't come home from the grocery store yesterday. Something like a 401k, stock, bonds, mutual funds, CDs, substantial savings, any sort of retirement accounts, inheritance, anything. Cool. Yeah, great. Hey, the next question, which I don't know if we train enough on, is when they say, yeah, I've got an old 401k. This is how you find out how much is in there. Hey, last time you checked, last time they sent that letter to you, ballpark, how much did it say you had in there last you saw? Ballpark. I say ballpark twice. Ballpark. Very casual, very unassuming, very non-specific, very vague. Ballpark. Hey, I don't need the exact amount, just give or take. 99.9% of the time they tell you. Every agent's going to be like, well, what happens if they don't? They say, why do you need to know? All right, tell you what. You go find money and you call me the first time that somebody tells you, why do you need to know? You call me and tell me, then I'll train you on that at that time. Because I promise you it's not going to happen for a very long time. I'll train you on that when that happens. But I want any of you, give my number out, John. I don't care. If somebody asks you, why do you need to know that? You call me and we'll talk about it. But until then, every single one of you has an objective. You need to find 10 monies in the next 10 days. Find 10 people with monies, plural. If you can do that, you've gotten yourself comfortable with uncovering the assets. Use those scripts. They're word for word. Just read it. I read them to you. I use scripts all the time. Tee that up. The Pinnacle Life Group. Click on the retirement tab. Then click on Ask a Specialist under the quick links. And right there, you can select your specialist. I'm pretty sure Jesse Hantler works with you. David Pyle, phenomenal agent. Closes and creates a comfortable buying experience for people for annuities and retirement planning like I've never seen before. One of the very best. And we're lucky to have him. Outstanding, skilled, trustworthy, 20 years in the business. Another guy, talk about longevity in the business, annuities. So,
Yep. Yeah. And
go ahead.
We'll open up for questions in a sec. Before we do that and before we wrap up, because we're going on 3 o'clock here, but you mentioned this twice, but I want to hammer on this for another minute or so because it's important. Why is the agent that's spending only a few $100, $400 a week on leads? Why are they not going to have longevity in this business and more than likely not be here a year and a half from now?
I'll say this in a humble way, but I'm really good at selling life insurance. I've done it for so long. I'll tell you this straight up, Jonah, you are very good at this business. You know how to sell life insurance. You and I, with all of our experience, would have a really hard time on $400 worth of leads, making like 6, 7, 10 grand a week in IP. Like you and I consider us really good. We know how to do the job.
Yep.
And I would have a hard time. So if I, Spencer Faggioni, would have a really hard time doing it, like how, I'm not saying like, just, it's really hard on that lead flow. It's really hard. It would be very hard to like set yourself free on $400 a week in leads. It just would be hard. So the reason why an agent that's only spending $300, $400, $500 a week on leads, you don't have enough at bats. You don't have enough opportunity to sell more.
Let me ask you this, Spencer, because what about the agent that they only have that to spend on leads, and maybe they are operating their business close fisted, so they're not getting as much revenue as they are, or they're just getting in, so they don't have a lot of capital to invest. But let's say that they're only spending that on leads because they have, so then they write just enough premium to get enough deposits to pay their bills, to just have a little bit left over to reinvest it back into leads, and they're stuck in that cycle.
Yep. Okay.
How do we get them out of it?
Okay. Is that agent taking all day to dial, or are they dialing all day? Right. So I'm not necessarily saying that agent has a work ethic problem, but if you have a limited number of leads, but you dialed them all freaking day, 5 days a week, more people will pick up. You're putting more dials in. So and it's fair. When I was new, I didn't have that money. So it's normal to have $300, $400, $500 a week leads, but I'm not talking down to you for not having more money. You're so dumb. Get more money. No. I was there. I've been there. And what you have to do, remember how I told you the first 4 months I had to do this? I said, the new idea department is closed. No new ideas, no new anything. Just do the job every second of the day from 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. during the hours of operations of business that I can sell something. And what I sell right now is life insurance and final expense and term and mortgage protection, critical period of coverage. And if I do that every second, every day, if I put in 1,000 more dials a week than you, I will statistically make more sales than you. And eventually I'll have more capital than you, and I'll be able to grow my business quicker than you, because all of you guys are independent business owners. Nick, Milo, you're competing against Skylar, bro. Skylar's competing against Andrew. Ed's competing against Drew. Like, I get we're all on the same team, but holy cow.
That's about the competition.
Yeah, dude, like, you got to get after it, bro. You gotta really get after it. So if you just kill yourself till your fingers are bleeding on the phones. Like, dude, I used to do this by dialing manually and printing leads and flipping them over. Like, I dialed all day, like, because you had to. And I just think if you just dial all day, that'll solve a lot of problems for like a couple.
That was well said. I agree completely. I mean, when I first started, I was dead broke, and most of us are getting into this business. And dude, I was cranking out 500-600 dials a day. So if an agent tells me they can't make 300 dials a day, I laugh. You can do it. You can physically do it.
Yeah.
It's
limiting.
It takes work, but it's not difficult.
Again, something owns you, whether it's Instagram, your bad attitude, your mindset. How dare you let that have that much control over your ability to earn income as a grown ass, mature adult male or a grown ass business woman? Like, don't let things own you. Don't let doubt. How dare that negative mindset have that much control over you where you're like, oh, I guess I should read a brochure right now instead of dial. Get out of that.
Yep, absolutely. We're going on our time, but this has been phenomenal. So before we wrap up, we'll open it up for questions. Any questions you guys have, feel free to unmute or drop them in the chat.
Rapid fire, please. Let's get back to dials, but I want to answer questions. Go.
We got time for 2 or 3.
Spencer, do you have an annuity? Yes, I bought my first annuity in 2019 for $50,000 with extra commissions I earned. I said, hey, I now have the money. Let's put it into the same product I've been selling my clients. 50 grand. How's the growth? January statement, 41.1% on the S&P. I have this. I have it. I have my own personal review here. Give me one moment. I've been using it.
41.1% growth.
Yes. Wait. You're going to see this, dude. This is my actual personal statement from a January index allocation. I'll find it here. Just one moment.
Bro, I'm about to write an annuity on myself right now on this call.
Because here's what I told myself. I said, well, wait a minute. If I can tuck away 50 G's and I never have to worry about it going backwards, then what the hell? Why not? Like, dude, Jonah, where you and I were sitting next to each other in the green room, and you're like asking me about all my cryptocurrencies and all this stuff. And I was like, hey, brother, I was being very vague. Do you remember my answers? I was not telling you. I was like, dude, I'm cool. I'm heavily invested in the things that have been around for hundreds of years. Now I'm also into the cryptos and space and Forex and, I've done all the things, but I also have known that this stuff has existed for a very long time and it works for a reason. I'm so close to finding it. I love that I got called on this. Do you have one? That's so funny.
Oh, Skylar said he can help me out with the annuity. Sorry, Spencer. Skylar's got me.
Spencer, what's the minimum amount?
10 grand.
10 grand. Is that worth, setting the appointment and everything? Like if it's 10 grand or above, we're setting it every time?
Hey, Nick, I love you. I like you. You've invited me into your home. I mean this in the,
You don't like that question?
But I'm going to answer it very sarcastically.
Go for it.
Okay. Because because this is how I learn. So I don't mean to be condescending okay, I've buttered it up enough. Nick, how often do you walk past a $10 bill on the ground because it's not a 20?
Yeah. Let me rephrase. Is it worth it to the client with that amount? Not commission wise, but like, are they going to want to protect 10 grand? Like if they only have 10 grand, then yeah.
Okay. Let's say the client has 20 grand. They've worked their ass. That's their net worth. That's their life savings. Whether a person has 10 million or $10,000, it's equally important to all of them. That's their nest egg. It's possibly more important to somebody that has less money because they can't afford to lose any.
Yeah, makes sense.
Good question, but double faceted. The first facet is like, obviously for you as an agent, what I've always told agent, like, who cares if it's a $20,000 401k? Why not learn how to set the appointment on something that the person doesn't have a financial advisor? There's no competition. Okay. And then the second part is, if the specialist can provide the value to the client, let them do the work, Nick. Just just tee it up. The same way you did with that New York one, the $1 million one. All we did was put it with a specialist, and who knows if it'll happen. But why not get 10 with specialists? Eventually one will hit, right? And if it was that $1 million one, dude, that's like $45,000. Like, what the flip? All right, let me share my screen. I'll show you. Oh.
Do I have to give you the rights to share your screen?
Open system setup. God, Google Chrome, you piece of.
Zoom, please fix your server so we can get back on you. Never used this before. It looks like I gave you the rights to share your screen.
Hey,
Are you listening?
Hey, I'll send this to you right now, Jonah. You share it because it looks like it wants me to close out of this. Now, this is my Spencer Faggioni's actual statement. Okay. Now, my first one for 50 grand was in 2019. My second one for 50 grand was in 2024. And I don't want to get it. There's a technique called laddering where you have an annuity that matures every 5 or 10 years. And so every 5 years, you have a new bucket of money that's available and available and available. The way I plan my retirement to be, Jonah, is every 5 years, I'll have another $500,000 just available. Next 5 years, I can blow 100 grand a year. That's like the goal, right? Did you get that text message?
Yes, I did. And it's
all right.
While
you're
out, share my screen. Do I have your permission to drop this in the chat instead? It's not letting me share my screen.
Yeah, that's fine. Yeah, I drop it in the chat. It's tough to coach on it. Drop it in the chat. Anyways, just figure it out. Let's get a next question. But yes, I have an annuity. Yes, I believe in it. Yes, I went up 24.9% in the 2-year BNP Paribas index. It had 165% participation rate. So it took 24.95% to 41.17. I had another index that allocated at a 265% participation rate. The index went up by 5.2% because of the 265 participation rate. It took my 5.2% growth and went to 13.79. All right, next question. Can you roll over a 401k that's active with their current job? No. Most of the time, no. Maybe if they're over 59.5, get with a specialist. How much do they have in their 401k to offer annuity? 10 grand minimum. Spencer, do you have an annuity? How's the growth? Jonah, I can write it. Okay. Yeah. Any other questions? Vincent, go.
How do you typically go about going through your book of business and finding annuities in your book of business that you already have rather than finding it in a current sale that you're on?
Oh, you're sharing the screen, bro, but you're sharing the screen of all of us. How do you go about
Yep.
book a business? You just call them back and say, hey, just doing an annual review. It's such and such. Like, it's Vincent. How are things going? Really good. Great. Hey, I might not have mentioned this before, but I'm going through my notes here. I didn't see anything for, self-insurability, but did you have an old 401k, stocks, bonds, mutual funds, things like that? You've seen the market's been up and down like crazy over the last couple months. Have you experienced any losses? Just get the conversation going, something simple like that, right? Yeah, man, it's been crazy. I don't really know what's going on, blah, 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 blah. All right, cool. Hey, script. The reason I'm asking, it'd be weird if I didn't mention it, but at our firm, we have a lady that specializes in protecting your retirement the same way we did your mortgage. Would it be beneficial to you if I could make that introduction to see if they could help you? It's a 10-minute, at the bare minimum, it's a 10-minute call, 100% free, comes with your mortgage protection plan. And I dropped the ball not telling you before, but a lot of people lately have been needing this, and I wanted to make sure I talk to you. Does that make sense? Cool. Right there, just like that. Change the opener of the script. Jonah, you're sharing your screen, but it's like, can
you see it?
Yeah, but you would have to switch over to the text message, or do you want me to email it to you?
We'll just send it out after this.
All right,
Like
cool.
at this point, it's just not worth it. Sorry, guys.
How do you handle, we have a guy who handles our 401k. Austin, probably not the time to overcome that objection, but what I do is I tell clients, I go, hey, that's not a problem. As you accumulate your net worth and prepare for retirement, your objectives and your goals change. Okay. For the last 10, 20, 30 years, you've been in the accumulation bucket. And now we begin to start talking about preservation and income. And so the tides are turning. The whole objective of managing your portfolio is very different. And we specialize in preservation, preserving your assets, and giving you guaranteed income that you can't outlive. And that's one way to overcome that. Any other questions, Jonah?
That's it. So, Spencer, thank you for hopping on. Thank you for pouring into the troops today. Everybody have a blessed rest of your week.
Absolutely. Take care, guys. Thank you.